with the handles behind the back.
The dish on the inside to Sophie Cunningham, the biggest lead for Indiana.
Gets it to go, and right here just creates her own assist.
Caitlin Clark made $114,000 playing basketball in 2025 and $16 million everywhere else. And that gap just exposed the most uncomfortable truth in women's sports. This is not a success story anymore. It is a warning sign wrapped in a highlight reel, and it's way shocking than we expected. Caitlin Clark's 2025 earnings read like a typo until you realize they are completely real. $114,000 came from the WNBA, the league she physically puts her body on the line for, while $16 million came from sponsors who never asked her to take a charge, chase a shooter, or play through pain. That split is not just dramatic, it is historic, and it quietly redefined how power actually works in the modern WNBA.
Assists, finding Lexi Hull here.
Caitlin Clark, you see just the great little rub screen by Aaliyah Boston.
Ends up caroming to Hull. Here's Clark in transition.
Clark played just 30% of Indiana Fever games in 2025 because of injuries, yet she still walked away as the highest paid player in league history. Not because of minutes, not because of wins, not because of championships, because Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player, she is infrastructure. Television ratings rise when her name is mentioned. Merchandise moves when she posts a photo. Sponsors sign checks whether she plays or not. That reality has completely detached her financial value from the league that technically employs her.
Chant of defense by the Sparks fans. 6 on the shot clock. Clark, a deep 3.
Feet on the hardwood, basketball in hand, guiding you.
The WNBA salary number is where the discomfort begins. Clark's base pay sits under 6 figures, a figure that barely moves the needle compared to the millions she generates. Her 4-year rookie deal totals just over $338,000, a number that looks almost insulting next to the revenue spikes that followed her arrival. When Clark said out loud that winning the Commissioner's Cup paid more than being a WNBA champion, she was not joking. She was pointing at a structural flaw that the league has spent years trying to avoid acknowledging. That quote mattered because it came from the league's biggest draw, not a fringe player fighting for leverage. Clark did not need to say it. She did not need the bonus, but she said it anyway, and it landed because everyone already knew it was true. The league's prize structures are upside down, and Clark accidentally exposed it by being too big to ignore.
When you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid.
Her endorsement portfolio explains everything. More than 10 major sponsors make up 99% of her earnings. Gatorade, Nike, State Farm, Wilson, Panini, Xfinity, Hy-Vee, Gainbridge, Lilly, Stanley, Ascension St. Vincent. These are not experimental deals. These are long-term investments built around a single idea. Caitlin Clark is safer than the league itself. Brands trust her consistency more than they trust the WNBA's stability. Let's smash that subscribe button and hit like before we move on to the deal that changed everything.
Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlin, conmigo, let. You got it.
The Nike deal alone changed the conversation. Clark became a signature athlete, complete with her own logo and a sneaker debuting in 2026. That is territory once reserved for generational icons, not second-year pros. The league did not announce that deal. Nike did, and that distinction matters because it shows who is driving the market. The WNBA did not elevate Clark to that level. Clark dragged the league up behind her. What makes this situation even more explosive is that Clark still ranked only 6th among the highest paid female athletes in 2025. Gymnasts, skiers, and tennis legends continue to out-earn their playing salaries through branding alone. Simone Biles made every dollar off the mat. Eileen Gu made almost nothing on the snow. Venus Williams made barely 2% of her income from tennis. Clark fits into that pattern, but her case feels different because she plays a team sport that depends on collective bargaining and shared revenue. The WNBA is negotiating a new CBA right now, and Clark's earnings sit at the center of that tension whether she wants them to or not. salaries are expected to rise multiple times their current levels, but structure matters more than headlines. If the league does not fix how money flows, it risks creating a system where stars survive independently while everyone else waits for trickle-down growth that never arrives. Clark's situation already proves that stars do not need the league financially. She could lose her entire WNBA salary tomorrow and still out-earn most athletes in the world. That imbalance creates a quiet shift in leverage. When players do not rely on league pay, their willingness to compromise changes. Their tolerance for bad scheduling, weak travel conditions, or limited benefits drops. Clark does not need to threaten a holdout for her voice to matter. Her absence alone would cost millions. There is also an unspoken tension among players. Clark is the only WNBA athlete to crack the top 15 earners globally. Sabrina Ionescu came close and missed. Others are nowhere near. That gap creates resentment even when nobody says it out loud. The league markets parity, but money exposes hierarchy faster than minutes ever could. The irony is that Clark's on-court season was frustrating. Injuries limited her availability. Indiana never fully stabilized. The Fever fell short in the playoffs, and none of it mattered financially. That is the most jarring part. Performance no longer directly correlates with pay at the top level of women's basketball. Visibility does. The player marketing agreement exists for a reason. It pays up to $250,000 to players willing to act as brand ambassadors for the league. But stars like Clark often stay out of it because their private sponsorships dwarf the offer. The team marketing agreement adds another layer, but its cap barely registers next to endorsement money. These programs were designed to help players grow, but Clark outgrew them before she ever needed them. This creates a dangerous precedent. If future stars follow Clark's path, the league risks becoming a platform rather than an employer. Players will enter knowing that the real money lives outside the gym. Loyalty becomes optional. Negotiations become transactional. The emotional tie between league and player weakens. At the same time, Clark's success exposes how undervalued women's labor has been for decades. The fact that she can generate $16 million while being paid $114,000 by her league is not a flex. It is an indictment. The WNBA benefited massively from her presence, but the financial return did not flow proportionally back to her paycheck. Some will argue that endorsements are the reward, that players should be grateful for off-court money. That argument misses the point. Endorsements are not guaranteed. Salaries are supposed to be. A healthy league does not rely on Nike to close its wage gaps. Clark did not create this system, but she broke it open simply by existing within it. Her earnings are now a benchmark that every future negotiation will reference. Every rookie will be compared to her. Every sponsor will ask who the next Caitlin Clark is. Every CBA meeting will feel her shadow even if she never enters the room. The most uncomfortable speculation is whether the league can actually afford to keep stars like her satisfied long term. If salaries do not rise fast enough, if revenue sharing remains limited, and if ownership resists structural change, the gap will widen. Clark will still thrive. Others may not. Her story is not about greed or entitlement. It is about scale. Caitlin Clark is operating at a scale the WNBA was not built for, and now the league must either expand to meet her or risk being carried by her without ever catching up. $16 million versus $114,000 is not just a stat line, it is a stress test. It reveals who holds power, who controls value, and who benefits from the system staying exactly as it is. Clark passed that test. The league is still taking it. If Caitlin Clark can make $16 million without the WNBA's paycheck, who really needs who going forward? And when the next CBA hits, will the league finally catch up to the stars keeping it alive? Let us know what you think in the comments below.